Hi, so my new make-it-yourself project is a cathedral window quilt. This is what it looked like. So I decided that this was what I wanted to do. I wanted to know it's white, it can still be a shade off just like paint. So back to the drawing board. I have this that I'm eventually going to be making a pillow out of, or maybe a bag, I'm not sure yet. So I went back to the fabric store, and this time I got a bolt of fabric, and I remembered to keep track of the fabric lot number. And then for the squares, the colors in between, I made them 2.5 inches. And I just wanted to make them random, so I try not to have what one looks like complete, a row. And then I just try to roll them back up. So see the different colors. I just randomly try to be random. I'm not always random, but I try to be random. See how I kind of have these coordinated here? So I just keep, this is one of my favorites, a little bird's nest. So this is just part one of my process. So I start my chain piecing by taking my squares, and I don't use pins because the squares are nice and square. My husband cut them for me. And I'm going to use a 1/4 inch seam, and I'm going to zip down the side and put another one, and just keep going until I have either half the row or a full row of them, depending on how much energy I have. Then I will flip in between, flip them over, do the other side, because I have to do 1/4 inch on each side. Make my square. Okay. Now, what I want to do is I want to open this up like this, and I'm going to sew down the bias, leaving an opening so that I can turn it right side out. So I take my pin and I just pin the seams together, and then I puff that out a little bit. You have to learn how to maneuver this and try not to stretch it out too much, because you are working on with the bias, and that's how you end up with squares that are not perfectly square. So I go a little ways, I stop, leave an opening, go a little more to the end. Okay, so now I cut my little opening, and I'm going to use this tool. This tool is really good for the corners. You don't need it, but it's either that or use the seam ripper, which you end up sometimes poking a hole. So first thing, turn it right side out, right through your little hole there. You can make a pile of these and then just sit in front of your favorite TV show and pull these all out. Point those pointers, those points right out. That's that. Now make yourself a pile of these. I have my favorite pink iron. I did a little video on that way back. So I just press each square, and sometimes you get something like this. And this is gonna look really harsh, but this is what I do. I do that, and I press it out. And I steam. And I make a pile of these before I go back to the sewing machine. Try not to burn my fingers, and then I'll get a couple of them going because it does get hot, because this is cotton. This is unbleached, bleached muslin. The other half, I go in there and I just press. I'm going to show you a troubleshooting square. Now this to me is not square, and if I got my ruler out, I'm pretty sure you can tell by just your eye that it's not square. Now this is the crazy thing. This is how I fix it. I do this and I do this. Then I come back in. And I repress. In order to construct the rows, we have to take 2 flaps. We have to line them up, and then we're going to sew down that top line. And I have a pile of them going, like back stitch. Then I have the next one, which ends up looking like this. Okay, I haven't sewn these top flaps because that's how you join your rows. So we're going to take our row that we've made. I've made 24 of. We're going to pretend I just did 24 of them. And then you have to tack down these middles, because that's where you're going to make a platform for your square. So I just go back and forth a couple of times and tack that down on each square. So I would tack down, they're all sewn together, tack down, and I just keep doing it. In the machine, I don't cut the thread until I'm done. Tack each side down, each side going and going. And when I'm all done, I roll it back up so that the flaps will, hopefully I won't have to repress when I go to put all the rows together. But you see how I've made a tack on each corner. Each corner. And then the next step is to take your colors, your colored squares, in whatever order, whatever colors you have, you decide, and I just decided to do a variety. And what I've used is these little short pins. I got them with the balls, and then I got some without. And the balls are really cute, but I think the ones without, they're cheaper, and they seem to be, they're easier to handle. So after we have our background rows all sewn together, then we start pinning our 2.5-inch squares. Here's our platform right here, and I just pin them down with 4 pins. So I take that and I curl it over. One little pin in the middle of each. And what I try to do is get 2 or 3 rows pinned ahead of time so that I can take it with me. If I'm in the car, my husband's driving, or at an appointment somewhere, I can just sew, because it's going to take a long time and it's not going to get done by itself. That's what my friend, my 94-year-old quilting friend said, who has hundreds of quilts and cross stitches and you name it, she's done it. Her house is filled, it's beautiful. Everything, everywhere she's made. And I asked her, how did you have the time? She said, I just did it. And she said, it's not going to get done by itself. And the one who taught me how to quilt a long 20 years ago, she told me, Miss Edith, she told me, you have to be productive every day. Do something every day that's productive. So that's kind of my motto. Okay, so that's it. We just keep pinning these squares on. Pinning these squares on. Get yourself ready. Okay, so today, this was me today. Went to visit my friend. This is what I did. Finish these. I roll them, sew them down, and I have this row right here. It's a little pinch. You take a little pinch, and I do about 3 or 4 and jab myself every now and then. And then come around here, I undo that pin, have my magnetic pin bowl right next to me so I can just throw them in, and then I take a little bite right here, trying to come to the edge, and I'll cut that after, and then I just take another little bite, and sometimes I even take 2 or 3 bites in a row, but I don't want to pinch. Pick up a bite, and then you scoop 3 or 4, go around the corner, take a little bite, and until you get to the end. So that's it. Just take 2 or 3 bites into the same spot, and then that is how it ties off. And then what I mean by going out the back, there you go. Cut these off. My little scissors are somewhere. The other ones weren't working. So I'll go back and fix that later. But that's a square. I don't know how long that took, but we'll check it out later. So that's my squares, and I'll just keep on going.